What are your qualifications?
Well, I've been to Juilliard. I'm a graduate of Harvard Business School. I travel quite extensively. I lived through the Black Plague, and I had a pretty good time during that. I've seen The Exorcist about 167 times, and it keeps getting funnier every single time I see it. Not to mention the fact that you're talking to a dead guy. Now, what do you think? You think I'm qualified?
Quit picking your nose, Clark. Let's go. Look alive. Coming to you.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, now is the time where myself and Jim are going to speak. Ta-da-da!
Well, Jim, we're back again.
Why you always start it like that, like it's a shocker? What else you got to do?
I honestly have nothing else to do.
Yeah, you just sit around at home eating Cheetos?
Yeah, Cheetos? No, I'm more of a
on
Doritos.
Tinder?
I'm not on Tinder.
Because you got that. Is it still? No? It's
but anyway.
So why not Tinder? Wait, hold on. Stop it.
Because Tinder's too much.
Are you more of a plenty of fish kind of guy?
I want to meet people IRL.
Okay.
Try old
Singles
school.
Ward?
Yeah. IRL and the Singles Ward.
Did we figure out what episode this is actually?
This is actually episode 25.
This is 25.
This is number 25.
So you
We've
are
a quarter.
number 25. Sweet.
So
we're not 23. We thought we were 25.
We were 25 last week. We thought we were 24 the week before. We've been just ahead.
This is the 25.
This is number 25.
Do we change up the intro a little bit?
That's what I was thinking. Is like after I'll change it up here. I've actually been able to practice a little bit more with kind of audio, so I've got something coming together.
Did you see the picture I posted on my Instagram page
of me?
today?
Yeah, I was wondering why you pulled that. That was an interesting.
That's a cool. What do you mean pulled that? That's a cool picture.
It was the
How old
back
were you?
In that photo. I was 22, maybe.
22 in your shades.
Yeah,
under a tree.
The funny thing is that we were taking family photos that day, and my cousin, she had glasses, and she had handed them to me. And I was I was wearing her glasses, and then I was sitting by a tree, and I was like, "Hey, my cousin Michael is a very talented photographer," and I was like, "Hey, take my picture." And I'm gonna look very serious in it. And
I have a similar picture just like it too. I'll post it, or I'll give it to you, and you could pretend like you leaked it.
I gotta say, I want at one point in my life, I want a headshot as cool as your jail headshot.
Right.
Like, I think that's one of the coolest headshots.
It took me a long time to get rid of that one, and the agent kept saying, "No, you have to go." And I'm like, "I'm sorry, but this is the one. I'm gonna keep it." And that was actually really cool because that was a random photographer was there. We built that jail cell for a movie that we did, and then it just ended up. I was in there, and he's like, "Hey, Jim," because he's checking lighting or something, and pulled out his good camera and snapped those, and it ended up being like my headshot for a long time.
It was a good look, and for those that you should post it like on the Movie Hour Instagram page.
I can even put like all my headshots, my evolution.
Yeah, the evolution of Jim. I'll put the one of mine that I did from Mark Reynolds.
Nothing wrong with that. No, man, it's a good show. We're 25 in. I can't wait for the next 25. I'm working on that. I'm trying to do some stuff behind the scenes to get like a really big show together that I think is gonna hopefully come together here shortly that we can release. So
also here with us, as always, Emily.
Who?
Emily.
Emily's
She's
here?
in the studio. Yeah, she showed up.
When did you show up?
Can I have a name on stuff?
We'll talk about that later.
Yes.
Just one step at a time. One step at a time.
I mean, I've been here for 25 episodes.
Mute her. Let's move on.
Emily, how are you?
I am well.
She's actually got all the power.
Yeah,
my voice
that's the funny thing.
Is like wannabe squeaky, so if I start sounding funny, it's because
we went to a wedding on Sunday and she still hasn't stopped.
I saw you and Nate went to a wedding.
Yeah.
It was just you and Nate? Or did
that's
everyone
funny.
else go?
The girl that got married is my friend, but they're better friends with Amber, who's Nate's girlfriend, and Emily, who hangs out with me from time to time.
Got it.
Yeah.
But you're doing okay, Emily?
Emily?
Life as well?
yes.
Now that bed's out of the hallway?
Oh my gosh. And it's my child inherited it, so it feels like full circle.
All right, cool. And we have a special guest.
But before that, we also have a little announcement. We have merch.
No. Merch?
We got merch.
You talking about like shirts and accessories?
We got shirts of the Movie Hour.
Yeah.
And we're still kind of figuring out what we want to do with them.
Yeah, because they're expensive.
It was quite the penny for Jim and I.
But if someone wanted to buy one, we'd have to put a price tag on that too.
So we'll have to sit down.
Pretty good looking. That red actually worked.
Well,
even though I hate the Utes.
Yeah, exactly. It's a good looking heather red shirt with our logo on it.
It's a beautiful heather red shirt.
So
what's the collar cut called?
The collar? I have no idea. Emily, what does that mean?
crew.
It's a crew cut.
It's a crew cut.
It's a crew cut. So
Excellent.
for those fans that are interested,
who made it for us?
It is Design Inc. Oh no, lies! Oh my heavens, my stepmom made it for us.
There you go.
She doesn't listen to the podcast, anyway, so she doesn't.
It's fine, but at least you can now say, "Hey, I gave you a plug."
Exactly, and I
don't
say,
"What's a plug?"
I don't understand I don't know which printing company she works for anymore. There used to be one, but then she jumped to another one, and so I just not sure.
So
but so shout out to my stepmom.
She's selling them on the black market.
So they're good-looking shirts.
Did she not give you a discount?
They did. She gave us.
And that was still that cost?
Oh yeah, it was a very. These are nice shirts.
They're very soft.
Yeah, they're very nice shirts. So we will determine a pricing point if you are interested in a fan in the show.
Well, and then eventually got to put the sponsors on there. They just fill it like a NASCAR jacket.
So we don't have to pay for these things. Kodiak cakes.
Kodiak cakes and ASAP freight.
So but without further ado.
We have a guest, our 25th guest. Actually, more than that. No, because how many times we had multiple people? But 25th show guest. How about that? How do we say
show?
That?
You're the 25th show. Chelsea Jurkiewicz.
You guys, you said it right.
You got to pull that microphone right to your mouth like you're going to eat it.
Yeah.
There we go.
I can't hear out of these headphones.
Turn it.
Are they the fancy headphones? Oh, no.
We got to get her. Watch this. We're going to take care of that right now. You keep talking to her.
Yeah, so Chelsea, how are you? I had just met you a few minutes ago.
I am good. How about you?
Just a normal show as Jim plugs you in there here in a second.
Scoot this away.
You have to. This is all part of the art of the show. Now you can hear me, right?
I still can't hear out of these, but I can hear in real life. So
you can't.
There we go. Now I can hear. Woo! Right. Now I'm on the radio.
Now I wonder if those.
I want to tick.
Do those even work?
These work.
Okay. Pass those ones to Jim.
The other ones might have just not been turned up. But
yeah, that's my bad.
I'll check for you.
We'll just wing it.
So, how'd you get here?
How did I get here?
Yeah. Just tell me the story how you met Jim and...
I was like in a car. I got lost in downtown Salt Lake, even though I grew up here. So I worked with Jim on a film called Through the Valley of the Hunter.
But we've been friends on Facebook before that because we have so many mutual friends.
Yeah,
so we've been friends.
That's what's weird about...
You've liked some of my stuff. I've liked some of your stuff.
Yeah, that's what's weird about 2019 is like... You can know somebody really well, but not meet them in person. Yeah. So, we met in real life on a film called Through the Valley of the Hunter. And I played the lead character of Sarah. And it was a really great shoot because we had a lot of great people, and that's what makes a great shoot. But it was really hard because they made me look so haggard in that movie. And I had to stay in the makeup chair for hours while they greased my hair. And I hate greasy hair. So that was hard.
Pretty gross.
But I haven't seen the final film yet, but I've seen the trailer and I love the trailer. Yeah, the trailer's amazing.
It turned out great.
Looks pretty intense.
Who directed that one?
Michael Merrill. He's a
friend of the show.
Friend of the show.
Yeah, he always tells me about how much fun this show is and gets me excited to be on it.
Yeah, he's one of our loyal listeners.
We gotta bring him back. I feel bad every day. He's like, hey, I need to come back. We're like, we're booked till November.
We're so booked. I try to slow that down, but now I'm like, if we don't start booking again, we're gonna be right up against it again.
Yeah, it's a process.
Yeah, I gotta keep bringing them in.
So
it's kind of funny though because I went to his house to do ADR for the trailer and
tell the common folk what's ADR.
ADR is additional dialogue recording.
It's basically when the sound sucks, they bring the actor back in.
Actually, we were just recording lines to make the trailer more dramatic, basically, because the editor requested that we add more lines to it. The film is not very dialogue based, and so it's really funny.
What's it about? Without giving it away, what's it about?
The film is about a young girl named Sarah who... it's a really short film, and I feel like if I say anything, I'm going to give it away. But
I can help.
Basically,
she wakes up in a field and she doesn't know why she's there.
Yeah, basically.
Oh, okay. I've seen this trailer. Yes.
Yeah.
It's the one that Michael shared.
It's a lot of like reliving deaths and things like that. So anyway, I just think it's really funny because there's a lot of dialogue in the trailer that's like not actually in the film, and it sounds like it's dialogue from a scene, but it's not. Like a lot of the lines in the trailer are wild. Yeah, but the trailer's really great, and the film's really great too. So I'm really excited for people to see it.
Yeah. So how'd you get started? Like, I mean, how old are you?
I'm 20.
20, but you look even younger.
Yeah, which is good.
I know Peggy. I was like, she could be my age. She could be younger than me. I have no idea.
Yeah. But you've been doing it a while. You decided a while ago this is what you're going to do.
Yeah, I started acting when I was 11, which was... So in January, I will have been acting for 10 years, which is super cool.
Yeah.
How many credits do you think you have right now?
On IMDb, I have 35, which is cool. I also do stage. I started in stage.
What do you prefer? If you had to pick, you only you don't have to worry about money. Just you be comfortable. Which one do you pick?
Well, I mean, I haven't done theater for a few years, so I think right now I'm the most comfortable in film. But I do like alternate. I like alternating. But yeah, it's been a really great journey, and I was just thinking yesterday how I'm really glad that I got to kind of grow up in film and on stage because. I feel like as a teenager, especially, you need something to focus on other than school kids and the school dances and stuff. I feel like too many teenagers are so preoccupied with the other kids at the school and that kind of social life. And I'm really glad that I had something else to focus on really my whole life since I was 11 years old. I was just looking at, this is funny that we bring it up now because I was just looking at some old photos of my acting when I was younger, 11 and 12, and there are pictures of me behind the scenes of this live TV special that I was on when I was 12 to promote a play that I was in and stuff like that. And I'm so glad that I have gotten to do stuff like that for so long because that's not something that some people ever get to do, and I've gotten to do so much of that from a young age. And I've
So that's funny because I can go back to movies I did 20 years ago. You know, and they don't seem that long to me right now. I still remember that.
Well, I mean,
crap, that was 20
5.
years ago.
At my age, ago. 10 years is so. I've changed so much. I mean, I was 11, now I'm 20.
A lot of people quit.
Did
you hear what Harrison Ford said? His key to success, why he ended up becoming as famous as he did.
I haven't.
Because after he did Star Wars, he went back to doing carpentry work because then nobody knew Star Wars was going to be Star Wars. So he was a carpenter and he didn't know, so he went back to work. But he said main reason why is because everyone else kind of quit. They just stopped doing it. And he just kept going.
I've always loved it. I've never stopped loving it.
Going.
So I just kept doing it. And then even now.
34 credits is impressive, though.
35.
35.
Yeah.
Now in film, it has gotten a little more intense. When I was 11 and I started, I just did it for fun, and it was really fun at the beginning because I was really young and just kind of did it and didn't worry about anything. And then, in my late teens, I started worrying too much about, oh no, this isn't perfect and that's not perfect, and So now I've kind of let that go, and I've kind of circled back around. I think to why did I start acting? It's because it's fun. So I kind of stopped overthinking it now because you go through phases. Especially, I think it's really interesting. Doing something, especially in the entertainment industry, through your teen years, because you change so much. And so I feel like me changing as a person was also me changing as an actor. So I've kind of figured out stuff to do as an actor as well as a person because it's a weird industry.
Yeah, and I was going to ask, it's because most of the actors that we've had, I don't know how many of them have started when they were really young as a kid.
I don't think we've asked.
Yeah, I don't think we've asked in the first. So I guess what's it been like what's the one growth thing that you've seen from yourself as an actress, starting at 11 years old, as you said, to where you are now at 20 years old?
That's a great question.
I know. I only ask questions.
It is. Yeah, that's a totally great question.
Let me think about that for a sec.
See, I'll speak while you think because it's also fun for my little sister. Right now, you're 2 days younger than my little sister. Yeah, December 4th, 1998. Wow. It's her birthday.
Well, to answer your question, I think honestly, something that I've learned through the years is I was trying to say this a minute ago, but it didn't make any sense, so I'm gonna kind of restate it.
Yeah.
So when I was little and I started acting because it was really fun, and that's just why I did it, because I just genuinely loved doing it. And so I'd go on stage, I'd go on TV, whatever I was doing, and I would just say my lines and have fun with it. And I would think about my character in a very deep way. I have lists because I've always loved notebooks and writing and lists and stuff. So I have lists from when I was little, and I'd write things about my character, and I've always thought about my character very deeply, but I wouldn't make myself overthink and over-prepare. And I know a lot of brilliant actors have strategies that they do to prepare for their character, and they have to get really into it and all this stuff. And when I was younger, I didn't really do that. It came naturally to me, so I let it come naturally. And then, like, as I got into, like, my mid-teens, I was realizing, okay, like, I'm making money at this now. Like, this is a thing that I'm going to do as a career. It's not just this fun thing that I'm doing outside of school. Like, this is a thing now. This is my life. This is, like, bigger than just I'm 11 and I'm trying to find something fun to do. And so at that point, when I'm, like, trying out for bigger things and going against bigger competition in, LA markets and stuff, I started really worrying about everything, like, about myself. Like, I got pretty insecure, and I'm like, and myself as an actor, every line that I would say, I was like, oh, that's not the perfect way to say that. And I would try to overthink it and over-prepare it, and that just didn't work for me. And so now that I've had more experience and I've been the leads in features and stuff like that, I've realized that it's easier for me and I can get a better performance out of myself if I in more of an adult way, obviously, but kind of go back to how I used to act, where I act because it's fun and I let myself have fun with it. And I do prepare the heck out of my characters, but I don't make myself overthink it and worry, oh my gosh, this is not perfect. I'm like, that's why the director's there, right? Like, I can do it how it comes naturally to me, and then if the director wants me to change something, they can tell me and I'll take their direction. But I think that's something that I've learned, is just to let myself be free with it and have fun with it. And the other thing that I've learned is, like, when you're young, when you're, like, really young, like, I'm young now, but like when I'm younger.
You mean the other day?
Like, when you're, like, younger though, and you're just starting, it's really, really easy when you don't get cast in something. It's really easy to just think, oh, I'm not good enough to be in that. And that's what I used to think when I didn't get cast in things. And now I'm like, every actor doesn't get cast in things, and it's never because they're not good enough. Casting is very subjective, and it's usually just because they wanted somebody taller, or they wanted somebody shorter, or they wanted somebody that looked more like the person that they were to cast as the mom, stuff like that. Or even somebody else came in and thought to do something that they really liked that I didn't think to do. Like, it's never, you're not good enough to be in that. And I think once I was able to grasp that, I had a lot more confidence in myself as a person and as an actor, and that made my auditions better, because I wasn't like, oh no, like, I'm not good enough. Like, I'm just like, I'm good enough for this part. I might not get it because I might not be right for it, but it's not that I'm not good enough to be in it. So I think that, if I were to tell young aspiring actors something, I would tell them that, so they wouldn't worry from the beginning.
And it's a good point you bring up. And
have you ever, just real quick, I don't mean to butt you.
No, go ahead.
Have you at 20 ever put that much thought into anything?
At 20, definitely not. I was not in the good headspace when I was 20 years old, that's for sure. That's I was going to ask or bring it up because my little sister and I, Tambi, we were just talking a couple days ago about, like, kind of this renaissance of young actors in Hollywood right now, and being able to lead in your own features. Feel free to chime in here, but, like, you're seeing a lot, and it kind of helps that It is just coming out, the chapter 2, but the child actors in It, and then you look at the Stranger Things kids. Granted, there's a kid that plays in both of those, but then there's also the kids in Shazam earlier than this year. There's and that used to be like a drawback in like movies. Like, if there's like a kid leading the movie, it's usually the kid that can't keep up. But now you're seeing so many of these kid actors that are really good. And is that because you're seeing, you get Jacob Tremblay too? You got the good boys.
He's also brilliant. Jacob Tremblay's brilliant.
The kids that are in the movie that I suggest that we're going to talk about later, they all did a really good job as well. And so
is it because these kids are, like, being pushed till there's more information out there, or is it just kind of has it always been that way? We just haven't been able to notice it.
Well, personally, what I think it is it's more, if they can get good at it at a young age, they're more likely to, take it. They don't have to do the Disney route, and they can make some money on it. And I don't know if it's the overbearing parent that makes them do it, or if they're really like but it's I think also the accessibility of being able to see it.
You don't want to put on their headphones.
Is she talking? Yeah, I don't think, because I don't want to put on her headphones, because
it's not her headphones.
Oh, they're yours.
They're just some person that found in here.
Even better, I just get to put on somebody's random. But I think the exposure of it is a lot bigger now. Where, even on a YouTube, everyone says make a YouTube channel. It's like it's not like it used to be.
Yeah.
I think it is the availability of video auditions. They have a wider range of people to choose from, and children like from farther away can get a casting call and submit to it. And before it was like a cattle call, and it's just whoever was
in the area or your kid's director's
There's
son.
a million YouTube channels now.
Yeah, that's a good point. There's more accessibility to people from everywhere. You don't have to live in Los Angeles or send your kid there.
That's great.
I can learn to play the cello from home if I wanted to.
Yeah, because I've done before this year. I've worked only locally in Utah, and then this year I have really like expanded, and it's been like really overwhelming because I did.
Where have you gone?
I did so here's the deal. So in like March, I was flown out to Denver to do a 6-hour callback for a feature, and then I ended up getting that part. So in like April, I went to California and shot a lead in a horror feature, and then like really soon after that, like literally 3 or 4 days later, I shot another horror feature in Las Vegas, the one that I did the callback for in Denver, because we were originally going to shoot it there. And then I took a break for like a few months because I was really overwhelmed and freaked out. I was like, oh my gosh, this is like too much at once. I cannot take this, like all these new people. And then, but now I'm back in the swing of things, and I just barely got back from North Carolina where I shot a lead in a sci-fi movie. So that was cool.
Do you ever, you can answer this as much as you want, but do you ever get overwhelmed when you're not working all the time, or do you feel like it's important to kind of take a step back and breathe?
I think it is important to at least take a little bit of time and not act. And before I didn't really think that because, again, even though I've been doing this for a long time, it's usually been like, when I was little, when I was like 11 and 12, I did like one play a year and stuff, and like random little TV segments to promote the play type of thing like that. But like I didn't do it a lot. And then when I started doing movie acting when I was 15, I did a lot of day players in feature films. So it was like 1 to 2 days on set, and leads in short films. So it was also like a couple days on set. And so I could do a million things. I could just try out for tons of stuff and do a different thing like all the time because they were just these 1 or 2 days on each thing. But then it's really just been within the past year I've been getting the leads in the features and stuff. And that honestly is a whole different animal. Like when I did the first lead in a feature, it's called The 13th Cross. It's coming out next year, and it's amazing. When I did that, it was my first time being the lead in a feature, and I felt like I'd never acted before because it's so different working those longer hours every day, the same project, and figuring out this whole character by yourself because, I started in theater where I'm used to rehearsals. They don't have rehearsals. They do, but it's not a ton of rehearsal in film. And so it took me a little while to get used to that. And then I did that one in Utah, but then like right after that, I did this one in California and this one in Vegas and this one in North Carolina. And it's like, it was so much overwhelming new stuff. Like everything about it was new. Even like I have a trailer now and I have all this like different stuff. And like, I was so freaked out about it that I literally like, besides to change my outfits, like I didn't go in the trailer for like 3 days because I like didn't want to seem like a diva. Like I was so overwhelmed with every little thing of it. Even like because I was so overwhelmed with it, I didn't enjoy a lot of it, those first few. And people would text me like from Utah and be like, hey, you're having the funnest time of your life. And they thought I was having this big sleepover. And I'm like, I'm not. This is so hard.
I'm working.
So, I definitely think it's important to take a break between films. Like I did the Crumbs. I can say the title. I don't think I can say anymore. In California, and then I did Abigail Hunting in Vegas, and both of those were
they could change the names anyway. So.
Yeah, both of those were an incredible experience, and I'm super, super grateful to be in both of them. But I did do them with like 3 days in between, and it was like probably I kind of grouped that whole couple months as one thing that I did, even though it was 2 movies, because it was like right next to each other. And that was probably the hardest thing that I've ever done mentally. I wouldn't do that again too close together. I'm super, super grateful that I was able to do that, and I can't wait for them to come out, and they're amazing films, and I'm again super, super thankful that I was in them. But I wouldn't do that again. 2 features next to each other is too hard.
Do you watch your own work?
Oh, yeah.
And on top of that, when you do watch it, do you ever pick it apart? Like, oh my gosh, I'm terrible in this.
You know, I hear that a lot from other actors, but I'm kind of the opposite of that because, first of all, I love watching playback. Like, I'm always like, I run over to the monitor and I like watch the playback. But I feel like a lot of actors do that where they're confident with it until they see it, and then they're like, oh no, I did this wrong, I did that wrong. But I worry about it a lot before I see it. I'm like, oh, I could have done this better. I could have done this different. I should have played it like this. And I worry about it a lot until it comes out. And then I see it, and then I'm like, oh, yeah, like I can see why I made that decision.
Let it go.
Yeah, I love watching it, actually.
That's fun. No, I never tell anyone what to do. I'm a big fan of because I'm not one kind of like what acting technique works best. I'm like, it just depends on what works for you.
Oh yeah, so absolutely.
Are you in character all day kind of person, or can you click in and out of it?
I describe it as I like to jump in and out of my characters like I jump in and out of a bed at a sleepover because my acting, my characters, my accents, I feel like it's like a magic spell, and if I do it for too long, I kind of lose it. And so I do think about my character very deeply, and depending on the level of emotion that I'm supposed to convey in the scene, I do, like, if it's like a really, really intense thing, I do take like a few minutes and kind of get into it ahead of time and kind of stay in it in between takes. But most of the time, I just jump in and out of it more, and I never really stay in it in between shot setups, like, you know, for that longer period of time. If it's like a crying scene, again, those are harder for me. And so I try to stay in that moment, like in between takes, and I give myself a minute to get into it. But I'm definitely not a method actor. I just kind of wing it. Just depending on the scene, and some scenes are harder than others, so some of them I just like don't even really prepare that much and just kind of get in and do it. But other ones,
it's a smart
I'm
way.
like,
in my opinion, that's more like what I do, and I think it's a smart way because I got 2 brothers that do a lot of this too. Like Dave was when he played John Baptiste in for Robbing the Dead. He was John Baptiste for like 3 weeks, and that's because he couldn't. It was the accent was so tough, he just had to stay in.
Yeah.
Little brother Nate did a movie called Jumping for Joy, where at the end of the movie in the script, he's supposed to commit suicide. So the whole time as an actor, he's putting it together to make so that you'd believe that he'd try to commit suicide.
Yeah.
Only in the final cut, they cut out the suicide scene. So the whole movie he just acts like a moody, whiny little baby.
Yeah.
And then they never. But you know that's their style, and it kind of usually works for him. But every once in a while, it'll come back and kick you in the butt.
With accents, I definitely don't stay in it for longer than the take or the scene because, like, I don't know, like, I can do accents, but I lose them if I do them for too long. Like if I'm doing British is one of the ones that I've done for a long, long time and am able to do. But like if I keep doing it, it turns into like Australian or something,
right.
you know? So
like,
I try to, it's kind of like,
I meant to do that.
I mean, starting in the theater, something you learn very early on in the theater is like, obviously these runs can be really, really long. And so every single night in a play or a musical, you have to come on stage and act like it's the first time that you've ever done it because it's the first time this audience has ever done it. And so that's something that I take with me as a film actor too, is every take I have to make it seem like it's the first time I've done it. And so like if I stay in the accent for a long, long time and start to lose it, I don't want that energy and the accent to die, you know, because I have to keep that mentality of every take is the first time I've done it. Every scene is the first time I've done it because you want to keep the audience entertained because that's why we're here doing what we're doing, you know, because we're actors, we're entertainers.
Yeah, and Jim, I kind of want to ask you this question, Chelsea, you can jump in as well. Is when did you guys know that you were good at acting? Like you could actually make money out of this? Chelsea kind of brought it up a little bit that she kind of touched over, but Jim, when did you like finally figure it out?
Well, really, that's kind of one of those things that you kind of, as an artist, you get, sometimes you know you're really good and other times you don't. But what I can always say, even when I'm in my worst artist funks and everyone hates me and I'm a loser and everything, what I can say is at every level that I've done it, from high school as a state champion, in college, you know, it doesn't matter even now, or if I go to LA, I might not always be the one that books the part, but they're always considering me. I always go in there and make enough options that maybe I'm not, you know, even when I'm in a bad mood and I hate myself, when I really sit down and think about it, there's never been a time in my life when I haven't been good at it. And that's not normal, being around it as long as I have. And so I finally went into, I've always said I wanted to do the acting. I always wanted to do the stuff, but I didn't really do it until finally Dave started making money at it. And then Nady was starting to get into it. And I'm like, oh, Nady's not going to, you know what I mean? If I don't get in now and Nady goes, I won't. I'll sit back. And so that's when I jumped in and went and started booking all this stuff. And I'm like, this isn't normal. Like, a lot of people are like, you're not supposed to, when you become professional, book leads in movies, and you're not supposed to be able to do this stuff. I'm like, why not? If you're good. But that's, there's still, I still question myself on that. But to answer your question, I knew ever since when I was in a high school room and I was just dominating tournaments, doing a piece of comedy that I just knew I could beat them. And I'd see them, what I call them locker talkers. They'd be just outside still working on their piece before they'd come in to compete against me. Yeah. And my mindset was, if you're still working on it now, you can't beat me. I already put in the work. Like, I'm done. Like, I'm ready to, I don't need to talk to the locker to get ready. I know I'm going to be good. And if you're not ready, you can't beat me. And that's just how I've always been.
It's really impressive, Jim. That's really impressive.
From my experience, it's kind of like, I don't know. I guess this comes from growing up, like, as a teenager and going through puberty and stuff, like, while being an actor. I guess that's where this comes from. But when I was 11 and I started, I had this mentality, and this isn't true, but I had this mentality that I was, like, so good, And it's funny because I see this footage of, like, professional DVDs of the plays that I was in, type of thing that they'd sell at the theater. I watch those now and I'm like, I really wasn't that good. Like, I was an 11-year-old in a play, but like back then I had this like such confidence in my acting, and I just thought I was so good at it. And even though I wasn't, that, like, I think that helped me a lot in the beginning to like go into these auditions and really think like I'm so good, And then I kind of lost that, like, as a teenager, because, you change, you grow, and I started doing it more and auditioning for bigger things and stuff. And so I lost that, and I was like, oh, I guess I'm not that great, And then I think that's when I didn't get as many roles, because I lost my confidence. And then now that I have my confidence back in acting and just myself as a person, I just think that a lot of things in life center around your confidence, Like, I'm a big advocate of dare to be different,
And it's also hard to talk, I'm so awesome. I hate that so much. I'm always been awesome, Brady.
What's up, Emily?
You are awesome, Jim. Question, Chelsea.
Yeah.
You're watching these playbacks, and your kid self, and you're like, well, I wasn't as great as I thought I was in my head.
Yeah, back then, yeah.
But compared to the other children that didn't have that running through them, are you sure, like, wasn't there, like, an energy difference between you and other children, and, like, a stage presence difference?
I mean, it's kind of, like, strange to answer as myself.
That's actually an easy answer, because when I finally met her, when she came in and sat down in the car and talked for like 3 seconds, I'm like, all right, this chick's different. Like, not in a bad way. I just meant she dances to her own beat, and a lot of the stuff we've talked about.
I take that as a compliment.
We talked, while she's in the back seat, we're driving to set, but I was like, okay, most 20-year-olds don't think like this. Most 20-year-olds. So I guarantee
you, that really means a lot, because
I bet you were like that at 11 too.
Yeah, that means a lot, because I'm like, I honestly used to be a lot more insecure. I was like really afraid to talk to people. I didn't talk at all in school until 7th grade. And then just as a teenager, I like came out of that more. But I've always felt like around people that I know really well, like my family and people that I like click with, like my best friends and stuff, I feel like I can say anything. But then other people that I don't know, I'm like, I've always been like really afraid to talk to them. And so more recently, I've been thinking like, that freedom that I feel when I'm like around my family or my friends, like I wish I had that everywhere in life, like on film sets, I wish I had that everywhere. And then I was like, the only reason that I don't or didn't have that was because of one person. That's me being afraid to talk to people, And so I've like really like over the past few months, like I've been really, really trying to push myself to just be me, as cliche as that sounds, and let myself say whatever, like I don't like Pepsi. I don't like Pepsi. Everybody else does. That's okay. You know, like that's me, right? Like right now.
You know what? I don't like Pepsi.
Right now, I am wearing a dress that I found. It was made in the 30s, and I found it at an abandoned house in North Carolina. And these boots belonged to my mom in the 90s, you know? Like,
I freaking love it.
I
love you even more. Like,
thank you.
You should talk to Emily. She does that stuff.
I'm one of those people, like, my friends give me clothes, like, because they know I'll wear them, you know,
For
because
her
some people
birthday
just
party,
don't know.
she went shopping at I gotta go find a dress.
That's funny.
And I went to the thrift store and I found, I could tell it was a homemade dress.
Yeah.
Just because, you know, the
That's
stitching
cool,
and everything. And I wore it for my birthday and they still own it and I love it. But yeah, I'm a huge advocate for, like, just, if it works and you love it, rock it.
Yeah, me too, girl.
So we could
only wear the finest.
We could probably sit down and talk to Chelsea. We'll definitely have to sit you down again and come back to talk a little bit more.
Especially when you can talk about the movies that are coming out.
That'll be exciting. But we also have other movies to talk about.
Well, let's real quickly, because I want to try a segment. I want to try our first sponsor, which is Kodiak Cakes.
Kodiak Cakes.
And the Kodiak Cakes movie news. Real quickly.
Movie news. Okay, go
movie news.
Go through it.
So, Breaking Bad movie's coming out. And they're telling people that if you didn't watch the series, don't watch the movie. Apparently, it isn't one of those things you can watch it.
That's me.
The Rise of Skywalker poster that was revealed that everyone said was just not a real leak. It was a real leak.
Okay.
And I'm really excited for New Joker.
All right. That's your movie news?
That's my Kodiak Cakes
movie news.
Movie news.
Perfect.
Sound effect insert.
There it is. Well, we have a couple movies that we got to talk about. We got our flashback movie reviews. We'll start with Jim's movie.
Yeah.
The Killing of a Sacred Deer.
And you watched this, right?
Chelsea did watch this one.
I watched it today. I had not seen it before. I heard that you guys were going to ask me that, so I watched it. I really liked it because I'm a huge fan of A24. Like, I would love to work with A24 one day.
They're killing it right now.
I love...
Do a great job.
Like, again, I love uniqueness, and I feel like A24 really embodies the spirit of uniqueness. They definitely dare to be different, and I really like they call it the Independent Spirit Awards, you know, like A24 really has the independent spirit because I feel like they could have like millions and millions of dollars and, you know, make things beyond the Sundance Film Festival, but they don't because they choose to be how they are, and I love that.
What you tell me? Give us a little bit of the breakdown. What's the movie about there?
From my perspective of the movie,
what's it? Just outside first. What's it about?
It's about a doctor who befriends a kid, and
Martin,
and it starts off by like, okay, this is like his
Colin the doctor.
Yeah, his estranged son. That's what I assumed because he was really close with this kid. So I didn't understand. I assumed that, and then it turns out that Colin Farrell is a doctor and did surgery. He's a surgeon, and while he was drunk,
he'd been drinking at work.
He ended up killing this kid's father.
Yeah,
and this kid's had a vendetta over him ever since. And he hexes the family. Is that what it alludes to?
Keep going.
He hexes the family, and basically the premise at the end of the movie is Colin Farrell has to kill either his wife or one of his two kids, and then the other two get to live, or all three of them die.
Would you agree? Was that the movie about, or would you change something?
I would agree with that. I'm glad you didn't ask me what it was about because that's a better description than what I would have came up with because like it is very artistic and different, and like sometimes you can't grasp all that.
So a few things before I talk about any of the movie, things that to help you with the movie. This is a Greek tragedy.
Mm-hmm.
And since you come from plays, you know what the Greek tragedy is, right? So this is basically based off a play. It's a Greek tragedy where the problem is with this one, everything's about a transaction, an eye for an eye, and it is a very cruel film for everyone. There's not a character in this movie that isn't going through something that's messed up.
That's true.
Yeah,
including the audience. Yeah. He turned it and made it's a cruel. That's a
cruel
road. Cruel as an audience to watch it sometimes because it's hard to watch, and you don't know at first if the character, who was awesome by the way.
Barry Cogan.
He crushed it. Yeah. And you don't. At first, I was thinking, are these guys like dating? Is it like a weird? Is this his boyfriend? He starts showing up at work.
That's what I thought as well at the beginning.
I didn't think of that. But.
Yeah, I was like, is there some like kind of romance between the two of them? I wasn't sure. Right. But it was like creepiness to him. Like he was so articulate that it was creepy.
Yeah.
Like,
but everyone, and then you started noticing that cadence. And if you watch, remember in The Lobster, they also had that same speaking cadence in The Lobster.
True.
And in this one, Nicole Kidman had the hardest time with it. If you go back and watch it again, Nicole Kidman kept dropping out of that weird cadence.
Yeah.
And the two kids were in it the whole time. But that kid that played freaking Martin, he was
Cogan.
so good. That scene when he's eating the spaghetti and explaining to him what's happening is so creepy.
Yeah.
So nonchalant. So I don't know if it's a hex. I don't know what it is. But whatever it is, for some reason, this kid has this weird power. Eye for an eye. You killed my dad. And you don't want to get with my mom, I'm going to take away your kids or your wife, and then they can't walk, and then they don't want to eat, and then they start bleeding from the eyes, and then
the son does.
And then the kids and the wife, did you notice they all started bargaining? They started realizing what the outcome was going to be, and they started bargaining for their own life.
Yeah,
for their own life.
Yeah.
Like the two kids would fight over the iPod player or whatever it was. Like, when you're dead, can I have that? And the kid's like, I cut my hair. I want to be the same kind. Even the wife said, well, you need me because we can make another one.
Yeah,
we can have another kid. And, and the girl offered to run away with the kid, like, and nothing worked. And then the one scene where he got her out of the bed because he told her she could, and then they kidnap him.
And he's just tied up like when he bites himself.
Why did he do that?
Crazy.
But why did he do that?
I don't know.
Eye for an eye.
My question was, so the daughter especially kept asking the mom, like, has it started yet? Like, have you gotten sick yet? And stuff. And I'm like, I know what that means, like, in a literal sense, but I feel like there's a metaphor for that, too. Like, it means something else. Do you know what that means? Because I couldn't figure out what it meant.
That's why I love this movie. You go back and you go find it for me and let me know. Because what I found this time watching it, the bite, when the kid first he bites Colin Farrell. Yeah. And then he goes, and then when he talks to him, he says, see, this is what I'm doing is because what you want is justice. And the only justice that will work for both of us is, so then he takes a chunk out of his own arm because he's basically telling Colin Farrell, because he even says, he goes, it's a metaphor. It's a metaphor because he wants it the same. He goes, you accidentally killed my dad. You accidentally killed him while you were drunk. I want more blood. I want you.
Okay.
It's the same process. I bet you, I took a chunk out, you killed my dad, now kill one of your kids.
Yeah, and like the end of the movie, I was preparing myself because all I heard from this movie is the end of the movie, like the creepiness of the end of the movie. I wasn't sure.
That scene at the end with him and the gun and he's like spinning, like that was
They're
crazy.
All blindfolded,
I was like,
and he's just spinning around in circles and randomly shooting.
Yeah. And then at the very end, he shoots his son, and his son dies.
Yeah.
And then
the curse is over.
Yeah, the curse is over, and then they go about their day. And then, like, at the very end of the movie, they're sitting at what's the deal with the bar?
That's just where the kid and him used to meet up. That's again, like, there might be more. Like, that's why you go back and watch and look from that point of view. That's why I like this director, because there may be something that's small. And did you notice, because he said how much he loved to eat French fries? Like, when there's so much stuff that he calls back that you don't even notice. He loves French fries. When does he eat the French fries?
At the end?
Last. He always said, I eat the fries last because I love them so much. And he doesn't put ketchup on it because it ruins them. And that's why when they're sitting there, the girl, she takes out the ketchup and just smothers the fries. And then she starts eating them first with the burger not even touched. Just give them, like...
Double the burn. So, I was wondering if they, like, recognized him at the end or, like...
I wish it was almost like...
But almost
like it never happened.
Like you couldn't do anything about it because like he knows if you like mess with him.
So how did any of that? None of it's real. But that's why I love Yorgos
Yorgos.
He's so good at building like same thing with Lobster, same thing with Favorite, where it's like it could have happened, but it maybe not in this universe.
It was an interesting little.
Did you like it?
I mean, it's hard. Like I thought it was the strangest movie.
I liked it.
And good. I'm not mad that I watched it, but it was just like I'm glad I had my phone in the other room
make you think.
Charging because I wasn't able to kind of mess with it. I was able to just kind of stay focused on it. And
well, you remember you saw it. It's not like one of those where someone's like, "Did you see this?" Like, I'm not sure.
I texted so many of my friends like afterwards, just saying, "I watched the strangest little movie today."
Yeah.
Like, and so like the last 2 days, like because I've been working up for like 10-ish hours every day the last 3 days, and when I had gotten home the last 2 days, all I did was put in the movie that we're going to watch. So like the last 2 days, I've had movies to watch. So yeah, it's not. I guess I had such a bad like like taste in my mouth, like from Aunt Mimi's.
She hated it so much. But
someone
to hate something that much makes me love it because it's like she had to put so much effort into hating something.
Exactly. So I was thinking that it was going to be like this super like strange, like just like, and I was going to feel uncomfortable watching it. It wasn't
like
that.
Hereditary.
Yeah,
I liked Hereditary more than Killing of a Sacred Deer.
I still can't watch the end of that movie.
So. Yeah, it's there's a lot of...
All right, to finish, just a little some fun stuff. Next time you watch it, notice all the deer everywhere. There are pictures of deer.
I was
everywhere.
wondering about the name of it, too.
I was wondering about that, too.
It's the Killing of a Sacred Deer goes back to the Greek tragedy. If you go through and you start looking at all that stuff, it'll show you. Like, there's all sorts of connections. Okay. I didn't write all that stuff down, but it's mostly all based on the Greek tragedy base of it. And then the other fun thing is they're all playing Americans, and there's actually... they're Australian, they're British, they're Irish.
Yeah.
There's only like one person in that cast that actually is from America.
Is it the kids?
Who was it? It was the Sonny Solik.
Huh. I don't know
who played.
It doesn't even say.
Bob.
Yeah, little boy.
Yeah, that's
Bob, the principal.
I thought the girl.
Principal character.
I thought the teenage girl was British doing an American accent. She did it well, but I could tell.
Yeah.
They can't. That's why when Nicole Kidman had a harder time with that cadence than the kids did, though. But yeah, sometimes you just can't, it's such a weird cadence. They did a better job with it in Lobster, which is why I think he dropped it for The Favorite. They didn't really. Only one character talked like it in The Favorite. If you go back and watch it now,
The Favorite's probably the second weirdest film I've ever seen. The first weirdest film I've ever seen is Midsommar.
Yeah,
Midsommar.
Yeah, I missed that.
I haven't seen it yet,
weird.
but it's on the list. Go watch Lobster. That's another one the same director did that did Favorite and did Killing of a Sacred Deer.
Favorite's really strange.
I love it.
So to transition to our second movie,
pretty much the same kind of concept.
My one of my all-time favorite, but like a movie that I constantly go back and watch all the time just because of the art of it is Mad Max Fury Road.
Yeah.
And I remember hearing that there was other Mad Max movies.
Oh, you've never seen the other ones?
I've never seen these.
Cool.
And it was an awesome experience. I don't know if it ties into Fury Road at all. I feel there's been like rumblings that it's a reboot. That it's
none of them actually. They're like in the same universe.
Yeah. So it was curious seeing because this is definitely the one that kind of starts it all.
Yeah.
And it's still kind of in this normal like world. Like it's not in the post-apocalyptic kind of universe yet. So, but you could kind of start seeing the planting of the seeds there.
You know why it was set like that?
No.
Because they didn't have any money.
Yeah, that is valid too.
Yeah, so it takes place in Australia. It was an Australian film, and actually the first dubs that they sent over to America, they sent because they didn't think anyone could understand the Australian accent.
I noticed
so
the audio seemed a little off.
Yeah, they had like $300,000, and George Miller, who directed this one as well as Fury Road, he's a doctor, and he was doing like in-house patient work to pay for this movie. And if you look at the cars, they would just paint them, and like now it's somebody else's car, and they would just beat the crap out of them. They had a $350,000 budget, but it was basically a utopian where everything is back to mad law, where there is no, whoever's the strongest and has the biggest crew gets what they want. And so you can think, gas, food, water, these are the things that are important.
And that's part of the reason why I like seeing Fury Road first, then going to this one, because it is a prequel in a sense of you get to see like George Miller really kind of seeing things that like you see the pole vaulting.
Yeah, that was all the actual stunts.
Yeah, and you can see where it kind of ties into Fury
stunts.
Road, where everything's practical in Fury Road.
Well, they paid the extras in beer.
Yeah. Really?
On Mad Max, they all got paid in beer, and a lot of them were stunt guys because they had to do all these stunts. The character the toe cutter. Do you remember Toe Cutter in the movie you just watched?
Is he the bad guy?
Yeah,
he's the bad guy in Fury Road.
Yeah,
right?
he turns him into Immortal Joe.
Yeah.
His name is Hugh Keansburn.
So I heard that. I didn't know if that. But that's what I was I knew that he turns into Immortal Joe, because but I was just curious how he survives.
Now that we're going to watch them because you have them all picked. Once you go see, they don't like the second one, Mad Max Road Warrior. like if you look at the trailer for the first one, no one knows who Mel Gibson was. As a matter of fact, he didn't even audition for that movie. He went with his friend, and they ended up casting him. And so anyways, they make that one. Then the next one, Road Warrior, is because they didn't think anyone saw Mad Max, so they couldn't call it Mad Max. And the only reason why the third one got made is because they were making it without Mad Max, and then George Miller went, "Hey, I could easily stick Mad Max in this." And so the first and the second one are almost kind of the same movie remade, only with more money, like Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2 kind of did.
Okay.
And then you move along to the newest one, and there are similarities in the worlds, but there's no continuity through it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was my biggest thing, is I'm curious how this ties into it. But Mel Gibson was... he's definitely not Tom Hardy. He has a lot more to say in this.
Well, in the next one, I think he has like 12 lines of dialogue in the whole movie.
Okay, so that may be more.
Which is why in the new one, Tom Hardy doesn't say anything.
Yeah, it's just like very
and they also, if you look at the first trailer, it's all action because nobody knew who Mel Gibson was. So it just shows all the car crashes and stuff like that.
Well, yeah, that's just like there's seeds to where George Miller really wants to go with this. So I was really.
But what you can follow, which is a weird thing to have be your continuity through the movies, is his jacket.
Yeah.
If you watch his jacket in the first one, the wounds that he suffers in the first one, the jacket changes. Like one time he gets his arm run over, and that's why like they literally keep changing the jacket to fit the wounds that he had in the other movies more so than tell how they got here.
And
watch for that.
I like how when they don't really sugarcoat anything, because he loses his wife and his baby to toe cutter. And so like after that, it was kind of like John Wick on that point. I was like, all right, you got to go get this
Kill
guy.
them all!
Yeah, just destroy them all.
On a budget.
So that was...
On a budget.
But yeah, you could tell it was definitely on a budget. So I'm curious to see where the next one goes from here.
Well, he's also, like told you last week, some of the movies that he's done, Happy Feet, and it's random some of the movies he's done. And but his baby his baby is these post-apocalyptic, but doesn't have a real story, but kind of just works. But I guess he still wants to make two more. One with Charlize Theron, and then
I would love to see him go for another one. But like the reason why they're not doing another one with Charlize and Tom Hardy is
they don't like each other.
They hate each other.
Which is why at the end of the movie, I think they did that on purpose to split them up. But we'll watch that one in a few weeks, I'll get into it. But yeah, Mad Max is great, and but there is no real talk about. Do you think this with a story? There is no real A to B storyline, and none of them do.
Yeah,
maybe three.
I mean, there is an A to B to C point.
Yeah, but there's not
Fury Road.
He doesn't get the killers of his kids. He doesn't get anyone back. It's still miserable at the end of the movie.
Yeah, so it's true, and maybe there's more to the story going forward, we'll find out. But, I really enjoy. And because I had tried watching it a few years ago, and I kind of got bored because I was on my phone the entire time. And this time, like I said, I put my phone in the other room and just kind of sat and watched it. And I really enjoyed seeing like the little things. And I bought. You can go on Amazon Prime right now. You can buy all 4 movies on Blu-ray for $25, and that's what I did. So I had all 4. So I'm going to watch number 2 later this week, but I'm excited.
No, yeah, I got all of them too. So since you were a part of that one, what's your underrated film that you think doesn't get the respect, the love that it should, or the one that that just went completely ignored, that you're like, why don't people like this movie? Which one is your movie like that, Chels?
I don't know if it's like super underrated, but I know that a lot of people haven't seen it, and I love it. It's Crimson Peak. Have you guys seen that?
Crimson Peak, yeah.
See, you haven't seen it.
It sounds so really familiar.
It's
talk about it.
Great. It's a Guillermo del Toro film, and it's a period horror piece, and it is amazing. And it has Mia Wasikowska, who's in my club with me of actresses with long last names who didn't change it.
I was going to say,
it's really good. And Jessica Chastain and Tom Hiddleston. And it is amazing.
The movie sounds so familiar. Maybe it's because I remember seeing the trailers for
Probably
it.
Right. It's one of those.
Oh yeah, I do remember. It's one of those movies that I was like, oh, I'm really excited to see this, and then I saw that the reviews weren't so hot, and me being a poor college student as I was,
I'm not going to see that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I really liked it.
Well, good.
That's the point. Like Jim always brings it up, is that there's these movies that we all like really
If we all like the same stuff, like that's why we like to do the older movies too. Not only because we don't have to like the same movies, but we could at least talk about them and bring them back. And everyone has their favorite movie.
Yeah.
But the new movies, like you can't even talk about the ones that you filmed. You can't even talk about them. So the new ones, we can't really talk about them other than like In a World. And so I love that we can go break down old movies and tell us what we thought, and not have to worry about spoilers.
I think my favorite movie, if I had to pick like a favorite movie, I think it would be The Perks of Being a Wallflower. Have you guys seen that? I love The Perks of Being a Wallflower.
Hermione all grown stuff.
That is definitely your generation.
Genre.
That's your generation right there, because my sisters all love that too. So
I like it because it's like fun coming of age story, but also it's got the dark drama in it. You know, like some of the coming of age films are just like fun and lighthearted, which are great. But like I like how that one deals with darker things too, and it's got the dramatic in it.
It's exciting.
It's so dramatic.
Jim, I got to see Peanut Butter Falcon this week.
You did. I still got that one on my list.
I haven't seen that. I've seen the trailer.
I still think Blinded by the Light's my favorite movie of the year. But it's probably right behind it as like
why
Shia LaBeouf is going to get nominated for it.
LaBeouf, we'll see, man. He's a
head case.
He's a head case,
but for sure.
But he might be a good dude at the same time. Like that whole thing where he was going, just do it, whatever he was doing. What nobody tells you about, he was actually helping out like a film school, and he was basically anything you wrote, he would act it out, and that was one of the scenes that they had him do. And he just so he was actually being a cool dude, like. You write it, I'll do it. And he acted out that scene, and then it turned into what it was. But it was like he was doing a good thing.
Well, yeah, and Shia's incredibly talented. It's just been like his kind of outside stuff that's kind of detracted him from everything. But
gotta stay away from them booze.
So I really liked this movie. It is a very powerful message. I love the message. For those that don't know, it's about a Down syndrome kid who escapes from a nursing home because that's where the state put him. He doesn't have a family, he doesn't have anything, so the state put him in this nursing home, and he doesn't want to live there anymore because he's not an elder, he's not old. So he breaks out, and he's running away from this nursing home, and he meets up with Shia LaBeouf, and it's basically Shia's also on the run for a specific thing, so they're basically on the run together. And this kid, his name's I think Jake, and he wants to become a professional wrestler, and that's his dream. And that's where the name Peanut Butter Falcon comes from. That's his wrestling name is Peanut Butter Falcon. Cool. And Shia basically treats him. And that's the message: is that he there's a powerful scene. If you've seen the movie, there's a scene on the boat where the lead actress and Shia, I'm sorry, I don't know her name, are just talking, and they're talking about Jake. And it's very powerful, and I really appreciated what that movie had to say. But yeah, it's only an hour and a half, super short, and I suggest everyone to go watch it if they can.
Dakota Johnson.
Yes, Dakota Johnson's great. I'm going to say that.
She is.
I didn't even realize that was her. Dakota Johnson. Yeah,
that's how believable Dakota Johnson is as other characters.
So yeah, I really appreciated that movie. Like I said, I still think Blinded by the Light is my favorite of the year. But yeah, this is a good one. I'm really glad I was able to watch it. I really pushed for people to go see this weekend. I'm going to see Ad Astra on Friday.
Yeah, that's one that I want. That's on my list.
And then I'm going to go see Hustlers on Saturday because I missed it.
Okay. Yeah, I got to finish the last hour of It Too.
Okay, I watched it.
I haven't seen It Too. I'm excited to see that. I was filming in North Carolina when it came out. It's 3 hours?
It's 2.5. Oh, wow. Yeah.
Close to 3
hours.
I
was in North Carolina when it came out, and I haven't had time to go see it, but I really want to.
They jump right into it. Like, they don't give you time to decide if you like the older versions of them or not. They just go right into
I've seen the first.
No, that's what I'm.
The first new It. I haven't seen the second.
Yeah, that's what I mean. When you go into the second one,
okay.
they're now older, but they don't like give you time to kind of like, that was that guy, and I like. They go right into.
Yeah.
How impressive has been the transformation of Bill Hader?
Bill's so good. Barry's so good.
To go from like the
voice guy,
SNL, like
he was
goofball,
a voice guy,
and then to being a guy that's like a very
he's got the best TV show, in my opinion, the best TV show on right now in Barry. Barry's my favorite, 30-minute show.
Yeah,
Barry.
And it's just interesting because I remember like the first thing I really saw him in was Hot Rod, and he was just like the goofball that got shot in the eye.
he writes for South Park now.
Yeah, he's very smart, and he's the best part of the It Chapter 2, and his character I really enjoy. I think it's Richie. Is it Richie? Anyway,
I was still at the point where I wasn't sure who was who, but I also want to see the new Rambo this weekend. I'm very excited for the new Rambo.
Comes out this weekend as well. So
I'm a big fan of the Rambo franchise.
It's a lot of good stuff, and I'm glad that the AMC theater that I'm in is doing an effort to putting these smaller films so I can go
just get
them.
Seats that haven't been farted in a million times.
Exactly.
That'd be awesome.
You know,
new seats.
I wish the movie theaters would have like the old seats. Like I know they take pride in their luxury seats, but I don't think those are like that comfortable because like
they're made to last, not to be comfortable.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
true.
I think that if you're like at home, you know, then you can like
relax, lay back,
recline or whatever. But I don't think you should like do that when you're out. You know, I'm old fashioned. I think that you should like. I wish that people would like dress up to go to the movies like they used to. You know, I feel like people should like just sit up normal there at the movies.
That is an interesting point because I went to see It Chapter 2 in Provo. They have a new AMC theater in Provo, and it's very nice. Luxurious, like
stacked.
So, like
I'm not driving to Provo to see a movie.
It's true. I was just down there for a wedding anyway, so I was just kind of I happened to be there. But it's
wedding so you went to that instead of the wedding. I'm just kidding.
I went after, but like it was theater seating, so like everything, like you're probably like 4 rows in the entire theater, but you're suspended, so you can't see anything but the theater. It's really cool looking. I really enjoyed that one, and the recliner seats are actually really nice, and it's not uncomfortable to sit in. So yeah, we're about to hit Oscar season. We're going to do a little bit more push in Oscar season after.
It's easier to find those movies too once because they'll do the screeners, and usually you find a screener running around here.
Downton Abbey's also out this weekend, which is
I haven't seen a single episode. Yeah. I don't know anything about Downton.
I haven't seen the series, but
it's popular.
Is it part of the series, or is it just?
I have no idea.
I don't think it's part of the series. I think it's just like inspired by it, and it looks like something I would like because I love period films, but I haven't seen any of the.
I watched an interview with somebody because I never got into the show either. Mm-hmm. Apparently, it's just like an extra long episode, and it's a special occasion. The Queen's coming to visit, so it's kind of a big deal.
Yeah, I don't know. If it's everybody likes what they like, and I like For Killing a Sacred Deer.
Yeah, and lastly, another movie it came out. It's on Amazon Prime right now. Is the Mindy Kaling,
where she's like
the Late Show,
a writer.
I think it's called The Late Show.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And that I hear it was a Sundance movie. Yeah. Amazon Prime spend a lot of money.
You can say buttload.
A buttload to getting it on Amazon Prime. So check it out. I hear that one's great. I'm gonna have to sit down and watch it.
I haven't seen that. I love
She's
Sundance movies, but I haven't seen that one.
So that one's
Mindy's a talented chick, dude. I don't mean to call her a chick. Sorry, that's mean. I'm like, she's a talented chick. No, she's a talented woman who she writes, produces. She's good. I don't think she gets as much credit.
Emma Thompson is the lead. That's what I was trying to think.
Does not get as much credit as she should.
And before we go into our challenges, the movie that I'm buzzed is that favorite to win it all the awards is Judy, the Judy Garland biopic.
Right. Who's playing Judy?
Exactly.
Nobody. It's probably going to be better that way.
It's I don't know if anyone knows her name. Renee Zellweger.
Renee Zellweger.
Yeah.
You don't know who Renee Zellweger is?
You guys don't know who that is?
Renee Zellweger
I don't know who that is.
Did you ever see Jerry Maguire?
Gosh.
Well, she was really, really big.
She's Myself, and Irene.
Yeah, she's an Academy Award-winning actress who kind of
Chicago.
She fell out for a while. Now she's coming back. She did some bad face surgery.
She
didn't need it.
That.
She always had a real squinty face, but she was always really, really good. Her and Isla Fisher, and like they all came
Didn't
like the same time.
Didn't she do Bridget Jones' Diary?
Bridget Jones, or is that her the other girl? It was the one, and then there's also Reese Witherspoon did the.
No, she did
the Perfectly Pink detective or
lawyer. Megan, is that
Legally
completely a tearjerker?
I was on that set.
Renee Zellweger is Bridget Jones' Diary.
Uncle Dave was a PA on Jerry Maguire, and I didn't get to meet Tom Cruise, but I got to see him with his kids, and I got to meet Renee Zellweger.
Okay,
yeah,
that's cool.
It was pretty cool. That was like my first time on a big movie set. I was like, oh.
All right, hit me with your.
But I don't know. I'm not ready to start picking who's going to win it because I want to watch it. So my movie this week, I had a few I wanted to pick. Almost went back to the Wes Anderson pool. But I'm going to go with, because I've been watching the 4-hour versions of the super extended cuts of the Lord of the Rings.
Oh, nice.
And so I want, Viggo's so good. In his movie, Captain Fantastic.
Okay.
2016. Directed by Matt Ross. He plays basically a widowed father of like 6, trying to raise them and being a dirt hippie. and the funny thing is, the guy that directed it, you see the guy. Did you watch Silicon Valley that Mike Judge does on HBO?
I did not know.
It's also a fantastic show. He plays like the main bad guy that owns the Google corporation. Like, if you see him, you're like, I've seen that guy.
Yep.
But he directed Captain Fantastic.
It's not like Captain America prequel or anything like that? Or no, it's not a superhero movie.
It's a good story of a guy who has his own beliefs of how he should raise his kids, and then the government kind of steps in and wants to tell him how he needs to do it, and the ex-in-laws. And anyway, so
cool.
What's your movie?
We're doing Mad Max Road Warrior.
Road Warrior. No break, huh? Straight.
I have and I'm just going to lay it out there. After Thunderdome, we're going to take a break from Mad Max because in 11 weeks, there is a certain movie that comes out. And there's 11 movies in between it that we got to watch leading up to it.
What are you talking about, Willis?
What franchise can you think of that comes out in 11 weeks?
Star Wars?
Star Wars.
Yeah, I'm sure.
There's
so many. There's so many people that jumped off because they didn't like what Ryan Johnson did.
So what we're gonna do?
Love what Ryan Johnson did, and I like the original.
What I say goes is we're gonna watch 1,
all right,
all the way to 8.
I'm in. Can we watch Can we watch Solo?
Yeah, that's why 11 weeks in between. So
done,
yeah.
And then maybe when we get to it, I'll get to the cartoons, but not this time.
Another time. I got all those for you if you need them.
Also, October 2nd, we were going to have, I believe, Travis Babcock. We got to reschedule him.
Okay.
So I have a guest right now. I don't want to give it away. I don't want to jinx it, but I think I'm going to get a green light soon. So we'll get to that one.
Cool.
But it won't be Travis. So next week we have Eve Keener.
Yep.
And then we got a replacement right now that to be announced, and I don't want to give it away because it's going to be awesome.
Oh, I didn't know Eve was coming on. I added her on Facebook like a month ago, not knowing that she was actually coming on.
So Eve is awesome.
So Eve's really cool.
Cool. I'm excited. Yeah. That'll be fun.
So, anything else? Emily, we forget anything?
We got shirts.
We did the Kodiak cakes. Didn't talk about
Steve
because he doesn't have any place here.
He does have a place here.
We had a great 20-plus minute interview.
It was awesome. It was 35 minutes before we stopped that.
Talking. I'm like, what are these words she's saying?
And then we talked about really intelligent kids being creepy and killing of the sacred deer.
And then, of course, everyone loves Mad Max. I almost picked another Mel Gibson movie, The Beaver.
That would have been fun.
That was directed by Jodie Foster.
Ooh.
That was happening right when he was in the middle of all his like fall down,
from grace.
In trouble. Yeah, but it was a really good movie that got ignored, but I'll get to it another time.
Cool.
I want my Vigo.
Episode 25.
25 in the can!
I can't believe it's only been 25.
Yeah, I can.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you. And maybe we'll see if the exit. There it is, Emily. Thank you. Appreciate it, guys.
Hi, Mom. Are you still listening?